Va bene, buonasera allora a tutti. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, welcome everybody to this new appointment with this series of international conferences. Tonight is my turn because I introduce myself alone because I'm going to give a presentation about tramways in the 21st century. This is the tramways in the last period, in the last 24 years. You can, as usual, use the chat in every moment during the presentation, and then if you have some questions, any questions to ask, you can ask them at the end of the presentation. Next presentation is scheduled for Tuesday, the 3rd of December, and will be focused on Pittsburgh streetcars. And then this is the second part of a beautiful presentation about that important streetcar network there. So I repeat everything in Italian before giving the floor to myself. And buonasera a tutti, benvenuti. Questa sera faccio io una presentazione ed sarà sui tram, sulla storia e la tecnica dei tram nel XXI secolo, quindi gli ultimi 24 anni di storia tranviaria in una prospettiva molto generale, quindi parlando un po' di tutto. Ovviamente non posso scendere in tanti particolari, ma parlerò delle cose più importanti. La presentazione sarà in inglese, ma i sottotitoli sono bilingui, quindi in italiano. La prossima presentazione è prevista per martedì 3 dicembre e ci sarà la seconda parte di una bellissima presentazione sui tram di Pittsburgh che Tony Schill aveva fatto qualche mese fa, la prima parte. Quindi martedì 3 dicembre. Naturalmente se volete usare la chat potete farlo durante la presentazione. Se avete domande vi prego di riservarle per la fine della presentazione. Okay. I think it's okay now, so we can start. This presentation, as I said before, will be done in English with the bilingual text, so Italian in blue and English in orange. If you see some writings in black, that means that it's understandable in both languages. Last time we had seen the period called the Tramways Renaissance. This is the fourth quarter of the 20th century. Tonight, I'm going to present the most recent period, covering the last 24 years of history and technique of the trams in a worldwide perspective. So in the new millennium, the tram expansion continues strongly worldwide after the Renaissance of the end of the 20th century. And in the first decade of the 21st century, European countries lead the advance of tramway. France particularly stands out for commissioning the largest number of new tram lines. Just to remember some digits, in France, there are today 28 tram systems, totalizing about 1,000 kilometers. But new countries progressively appear from other continents on the scene, with a strong surge from China, starting from the mid-2010s. China has today 24 systems and about 600 kilometers of the tram network. Sorry. From a technological point of view, after an ephemeral success of the tram on tires in the 30 years of the decade, attention is focused on a power supply system, so ground level supply, batteries, supercapacitors, and hydrogen. In this table, you can see in chronological order all the new tram and light rail systems in the world opened from 2000 to 2013. We have no time to read everything. Let's limit to examine the first application of their kind, written in bold and underlined. You see that Nancy, for example, in the first line, was the first to have the tram on tires with the GLT system in the year 2000. Bordeaux, in the year 2003, was the first one to apply the ATTS ground collection system. And the last of the page, Oranjestad, the capital of the island of Aruba, was the first in the world to have a hydrogen fuel cells tram in operation. But we'll talk later about all of them. Second part of the table, from 2014 to 2024. Here, new of their kind were Kaohsiung in Taiwan, first city to have a line completely operated with a full supercapacitor tram cars. And Zhuhai in China, first city to apply the tramwave system. In 2024, we have so far just one new entry. This is Guangyan in China. New tram technologies in the last 2 decades. This innovation have been implemented. The tram on tires, we'll see later. The ground level power supply, the APS and the tramwave systems, rechargeable batteries, power supply, supercapacitors, hydrogen fuel cells, and then, of course, a total use of electronics on board and some safety drive assistance systems. Okay, let's begin with the tram on tires. The tram on tires is a technology that looked promising some years ago. However, it has not been so successful so far. 2 systems have been developed. The first one was the GLT by Bombardier, introduced in Nancy, France in the year 2000, and in Cannes, always France, in 2002. But now both of them have been dismantled in both cities. And the second system, still surviving, is the Translor, introduced in Clermont-Ferrand in 2006, and later in other 8 cities in the world. Here you see the total list of the Translor systems. The GLT, that stands for Guided Light Transit, was a system developed by Bombardier, and as I said before, was operational in 2 cities only. The more advanced the Translor is a much better system than the GLT, and it seemed successful in the first years. Here you can see the guidance device on the left, that is made by a V-shaped double wheel running on a central rail, and the carrying device like a bogie on rubber tires. But the tires has some disadvantages. For example, it is no more economical than a traditional tramway. There's a rapid deterioration of the track bed. There are some serious problems in case of derailment, and above all, danger for bicycle because the groove of the rail is important. And last but not least, let's say the most important disadvantage is that this is a system monopolized. That means that there's one manufacturer only. Here you see a picture from Padova, Italy, where this system was introduced in 2007. Let's say that after 2016, the last system was Medellin in Colombia. After that, no more clients appeared. So the manufacturer, Translor, went into a crisis and eventually was acquired by Alstom, that continued to provide technical assistance. The two systems that have been operating in China have been dismantled in 2023. So at present, just only 5 Translor systems operate in the world, 2 in France, 2 in Italy, and 1 in Colombia. Let's see now the APS, that stands for Alimentation par le Sol, ground level power supply, developed by Alstom, with the first application in 2003 in Bordeaux. It has had 12 more applications after Bordeaux. And the most recent one is Barcelona in just some days ago, so November 2024, with a short 2 kilometers section. It's a quite good system. The only problem of this system is the cost, because it costs about 1/3 more than a conventional catenary system. So we could say this APS is a deluxe tram system. This is the APS functional scheme. The feeding contact is provided by current collectors sliding under a third rail under the car, and each section of the third rail is powered only when a tram car is above it. This is a nice view in a beautiful example of an APS tramway harmoniously inserted in a pedestrian central square. This is Bordeaux, France, the city center. Other examples of APS here, there's Angers, another city in France, and Dubai in the United Emirates. Dubai has a full APS line like Rio de Janeiro and Istanbul, while the others have just partly APS lines. And this is a weird thing. The tramwave, let's say, this system was conceived as a competitor of the APS and was developed by Ansaldo STS in Italy. And the operating principle was similar to the APS, but in this case, the feeding contact with the third rail was provided by magnetically lifted blades instead of sliding current collectors. The tramway has had one application only in Zhuhai, in China, introduced in 2017, but discontinued in 2021. Evidently, it was judged not enough reliable. Never mind. And this is the other classical catenary free system, and it is old as the electric tram. Everyone remembers the beginnings of the electric trams and the cases worldwide of battery-feeded cars. But now the new nickel hybrid technology has allowed a revival of the batteries, pioneered by Alstom and introduced in Nice, France in 2007. Let's say that's good for limited sections of lines, and batteries are recharged while the tram is under a section of. This is the Place Masséna, the center of Nice. And the tram is a Alstom Citadis X02. And this, the supercapacitors, or supercaps, this is, in my opinion, the winning catenary free system. The first manufacturer to introduce supercaps was CAF, Spanish CAF, in Seville, in Spain, in 2011. But it was still limited to one section of line. Nowadays, each manufacturer has its own supercap system, and it is taking more and more importance, especially in brand new tram systems. Today, supercaps combined with batteries allow to run a tram line completely catenary free. And this, in the picture, is the first line completely catenary free. It was built in Huai'an, China in 2015 by a joint venture between CRRC and Siemens. The rapid charge allows at stops and takes about 20 seconds. Okay. Some other examples of supercapacitors. On the left, Kaohsiung in no, that's a mistake. It's not South Korea. It's Taiwan. 2016, and the tram car is a CAF Urbos 3. And this is the circle line of Kaohsiung, completely supercap provided. And on the left, bottom left, is Nice, France, with line T2 that is partly supercap. And the tram is the Alstom Citadis X05, the last generation of Citadis. Another catenary free system is the hydrogen power supply, made possible by the combination of fuel cells and rechargeable batteries. The first application of this kind was made on a small tourist line in the Dutch Isle of Aruba in 2012, and it was developed by TIG from the USA. Just a few applications have been made so far, but recently an announcement was made by Hyundai Rotem in South Korea, declaring that a new line is going to be built there and is expected to open in 2028. So we'll see. At the moment, so far, we have not enough experience to say if this system has a promising future or not. In the picture, you see the Aruba tourist line. That's a replica car, of course. And here's another case in China, Qingdao, where in 2016 started a regular operation with these tram cars built by Skoda. And it is still running, but according to recent news, it's going to have soon a deep overhaul. We will see. Last and least, let's say, another catenary-free system is the diesel traction. Of course, it's not an environment friendly and at all, particularly in urban systems. Here we see an application in Canada. The Trillium line opened in Ottawa in 2001, but we also have had application in other American countries and in Europe too. In my opinion, this is acceptable only if it is a temporary solution waiting for electrification, as well in some interurban lines. This is another case in South America, in the city of Sobral, for example, a line opened in 2014, reusing an old railway alignment. And the car is made in Brazil. This is an European example. We are in Nordhausen, Germany. The car is a Siemens Combino Duo, diesel and electric. It's a tram train operating in dual mode, and it was introduced in 2004. These vehicles run in diesel mode just on some rural, non-electrified sections. Another topic is reusing disused railways. At the end of the 20th century, this sentence began, aiming to reuse some abandoned railway alignments, and so to create low-cost LRT sections. An example here is the London Croydon, a system opened in the year 2000, as a combination of a new section, but even street running and all reused railway sections. More examples in other continents of reusing abandoned railway alignments. On top, the LRT opened in the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean in 2020. And on the bottom, the system of Cochabamba, Bolivia, opened in 2022. The cars are, in the first case, are tough, and the second case are Stadler Metellica. Another topic is the second-hand tram market. Is an example of an East German tram, a Berlin Tatra T4, that has found a new life in Oradea, Romania in 1997, but many other examples. It was a significant phenomenon, and it began in the 1990s after the fall of the communist regimes, and this is continuing today. Another example is that German Stadtbahn tram, a glorious TW6000 from Hanover, that moved to Hungary in 2001. Beautiful car. And here is a Swiss tram gone to Ukraine from Zurich. Actually, the Ukraine war has created the new opportunities of reusing a lot of Western trams that are still in good condition. I can assure you that my friends from Zurich, someone is listening now, will regret very much the 2000 trams now being replaced there by new Bombardier Flexity 2, as the 2000s are excellent cars. Among the best in the world in terms of reliability and performance. And this is a migration north to south that happened in America. You can see here some U2 LRT cars transfer from San Diego, California to Mendoza, Argentina in 2012. Freight trams. This topic also is as old as the tramway itself. Nearly all the tram systems of the first generation had a form of freight transportation, even urban or interurban. All kinds of goods were transported: mail, parcels, animals, food, spare parts, waste, and etc. In the course of the 20th century, the growth of the road transportation made all these things disappear. But just recently, some experiments have been made, and they are shown in that table. But at present, there is only one case operating in the world, that's Zurich, with the waste tram. Even if I read an announcement last month, and it was made from Amazon, Germany, about a new project aiming to carry parcels on the urban network in Frankfurt. Experimentation is on a prototype is ongoing. Here you see the cargo tram in Dresden transporting, was a service that transported the car components between two plants of the Volkswagen manufacturer there. It was a very good service, but it ended in 2020 because Volkswagen changed his logistics, and this particular form of transportation wasn't needed any longer. What a pity. And this, as I was saying before, is the only freight tram regularly operating today in Zurich. It started in 2003, and it takes special electronic and bulky waste from 11 pickup points to a peripheral delivery point in Zurich. Historic tramways. Let's now talk about the vintage tramways opened in recent years. In this table, we don't consider the multitude of the historical services operated by operators or tram museums in different occasions, but just the cases in which a regular line is fully operated with vintage cars and it is fully integrated into the normal tram network. There are not many, indeed. The majority of these cases are American, but there are also some European applications. For example, the last one in Europe was the line 36 in Warsaw, Poland, in 2019. You can have in Europe, the tendency is to use always original historic cars. In America, there are two cases. The first with the replica cars, and the second with regenerated PCCs. Here are the two kinds, the two different kinds in America, North America. And on the left, in El Paso, with some genuine PCC cars. And this service was opened in 2017. And on the right, the Little Rock service with the replica cars built by Gomaco Trolley, reusing some spare parts of old trams. And this service was opened in 2004. Some examples in Europe are line 23 in Prague, opened in 2017, and it is operated mainly with the Tatra T3 original trams. And on the right, the line 7 in Turin opened in 2011. That is operated by miscellaneous vintage fleet, including 3 Fiat Peter Witt cars that you see in the picture. We cannot forget the special cars, like the restaurant trams operating in various cities, like this one called the Off Tram in Den Haag, and even some oddities like the theater tram in Turin. You see it. It was rebuilt in 2007. Another important topic is the tram train. There's a bit of confusion about this concept, so it's important to distinguish the proper tram trains from the improper tram trains. In this table, you can see all the existing proper tram trains. These are cases in which a vehicle runs in mixed operations, both on a tramway line or on a railway line. That's the correct definition. You see that it all started in Germany in 1992 in Karlsruhe. And Germany indeed is the birthplace of tram trains. There are 5 systems with different combination, either electric, direct or alternating current, or diesel electric. Here in Karlsruhe, you see, for example, the Bombardier Flexity Swift that runs in dual voltage, 750 volt direct current and 15 kilovolts alternating current. As I said, the Karlsruhe model opened in 1992, and still it has the majority of tram train lines with total of a total extension of more than 600 kilometers, and this includes 9 lines of proper tram train. Okay. Other 2 important tram train systems in Germany, Kassel on the top and Chemnitz on the bottom. Traction is mainly electric, but both have some diesel operated sections. In these 2 pictures, you see the Alstom Regio Citadis introduced in Kassel in 2004 and the Stadler City Link introduced in Chemnitz in 2016. Both cars are dual mode, diesel and electric. And here are some examples in other countries. One in Hungary opened in 2021 with the Stadler City Link diesel electric, and one in Spain opened in 2022 with the CAF TT full electric dual voltage in Cadiz. And the next, it seems, will be the Cardiff Wales, the South Wales Metro, where they are building now a new regional system. And some lines will be operated with the diesel battery vehicles. These are the city links made by Stadler. And these vehicles have also been ordered by many other systems in different countries. Just a few words about improper tram trains. Here are 2 different cases. In first case, on the left, in Lyon, France, they run on railway tracks only, without mixing with other tramways. Vehicles are the Citadis Dualis, made by Alstom, and they are real tram trains. It means that they could run on tram tracks too, but actually they don't. In Cagliari, in Italy, on the bottom left of the bottom right, trams run either on tram tracks or on railway tracks, but in different periods of time. So vehicles are ordinary trams, normal trams, like the CAF Urbos 3 picture here. Now I'm going to review the most important typologies of tram cars that are appeared so far on the market in the 21st century. In the following slides, we'll see some examples, not all, of course, but the most important, sorted by category and in chronological order. The three big families are the high floor family, the partly low floor family, and the fully low floor family. Let's begin with the full high floor family with a Canadian LRT system, Calgary. This is a high floor, high platform case like the Stadtbahn in Germany. The Siemens SD 160 is produced since 2003 in an American factory based in California. A peculiar case in Europe is Manchester, where the second generation tram system opened in 1992, inspired by the German Stadtbahn. But there's a difference. This is that here in the city center, we have high platforms in surface instead of tunnels that we find in Germany normally. So from an aesthetic point of view, this is not very nice, I think. Anyway, it's an efficient system. The M5000 series is produced by Bombardier, now Alstom, since 2009. Here's a picture in Manchester. Moving to Germany, here's the Stuttgart beautiful Stadtbahn system with its newest type of car, the Stadler DT812, entered service in 2012. These are this run in two permanently coupled units. So it's a peculiarity among the Stadtbahn systems in Germany. And another good example is Hanover with this last new Stadtbahn car, in operation since 2013, the DTW3000. It was built by a consortium, Vossloh, Kiepe, Alstom, and Heiterblick. Very nice car. And we are back to North America with this huge series of Japanese-built Kinki Shario P3010 LRT cars for Los Angeles. We always are in a case of a high floor, high platform LRT system. It went into service in 2016, this car. In the other Californian big city, San Francisco, a fleet of high floor Siemens built cars, the S200 model, is in operation since 2016. The particularity here is that the vast majority of stops has a low platform, so boarding has to be made by steps. So this is mostly a high floor, low platform system. I look at the Asian system, an Asian system now. This is the Hong Kong LRT, high floor, high platform. This car is called Phase 5, and it's a model produced in China by CRRC since 2018. And a peculiarity of this car is that it is the longest single-body tram car in the world, 20.5 meters long. And some brand new cars. This is an example coming from Germany. This is a CAF high floor made by Bacaf, of course, the HF1 for Essen and the Rhine route system just arrived. So far, we have spoken about those systems that have retained the high floor. But what happened to the other systems? First of all, there has been a long transition process from high to low floor. This process had taken place in Europe in the last 15 years of the 20th century. So car floor had changed from full high floor to partly low floor, and eventually to fully low floor. In the 21st century, America has followed with a 20-year delay and has not completed the transition. Even today, fully low floor is a rarity there. A bestseller in the partly low floor segment is the Flexity Classic, made in Germany since 1999 by Bombardier, now Alstom. Here you see the version for Dresden. Hopping to North America is the local bestseller, the Siemens S700. It's a car derived from the Avanto European model, the Siemens Avanto, and it is built in America since 2004. Here you see the case of Charlotte. It is a low floor for the 70%. And in Eastern Europe, here's the Vario LF Prago Imex from Czechia. It began by modernizing some old Tatras, introducing a central new rebuilt low floor zone, then producing completely new partly low floor cars like this one since 2006. This has a low floor for the 36-50%. An interesting case is that of DART, the system, the LRT system in Dallas, Texas, a high floor, low platform system. There it was decided to lengthen all the existing fleet, introducing a new built intermediate low floor body. So 115 Japanese Kinki Chariot two-section cars built just some years ago before were modified from 2008 to 2010, obtaining the SLRV three-section car that you see in the picture. That's interesting. And among the best practices, here is the Stadler Tango. It's an elegant and robust Swiss-made partly low-floor tram. Low floor up to 75%, produced since 2008. Here you see the version for the Appenzeller Bahn in Switzerland, in St. Gallen. A competitor is the partly low-floor tram built in Spain by CAF since 2011, and this is the Urbus AXL. Here you see it in the version for Tallinn, Estonia. Another North American manufacturer is the Brookville, that produces the Liberty model since 2015. Here is the version for the Dallas streetcar. It's 70% low floor. And let's come now to the most important category. This is the fully low floor car. Let's say that the first generations of the fully low floor tram cars have multiple bodies resting on false bogies. That means that they are rigid and non-pivoting trucks, like the old two rooms and a bath cars of 100 years ago, or suspended between two adjacent bodies. But suspended bodies can cause dangerous cracks. Moreover, especially across the older systems with narrow curves and non-perfect tracks, rigid tracks can cause more problems, screech, roll, and jolts in curves, backache for drivers due to the pitch of the cantilevered front end, increased track and wheel consumption. Look at the picture below. Doesn't the modern tram look like an old two rooms of the bath car? Not much, it's not much different. So for example, this is a study case. In 2004, the first 400 Combino cars from Siemens are recalled by the manufacturer due to flaws in construction, cracks. Stainless steel replaces aluminium in body shell joints. And but with the following generation of tram cars that are the Combino Plus since 2006, Siemens gives up suspended bodies and introduces a new configuration we'll see later. Each body rests symmetrically on one bogie, no underfloor center plate, but with a minimum rotation. In chronological order, in the year 2000, the first fully low-flow tram of the millennium was the French Alstom Citadis XXI. That means the second generation of Citadis. Its configuration, typical of this period, is suspended bodies and rigid tracks, so not pivoting. Just to be clear, for me, a truck is a wheel set with two axles that cannot rotate, while a bogie is a wheel set with two axles that can rotate. That's the difference. This is Lyon. And then came Bombardier with this City Runner, later called Flexity Outlook C, produced also since the year 2000. Same configuration of the Cityway X02. This is Graz. And here is a weird case. Same configuration. In the year 2001, a particular batch of cars for Zurich named Cobra was delivered. This tram has a troubled story, being affected by some serious structural problems at the beginning, all due to suspended bodies and rigid tracks. In Italy, Ansaldo Breda, later become Hitachi Rail Italy, produced the Sirio model since 2002, always the same configuration, suspended bodies and rigid tracks. Here is a picture from Florence. Some similar products were available in Eastern Europe, like this TMK by Tram, made in Croatia since 2005, same configuration. Suspended bodies and tracks again from Poland, the Tramicus, later named Swing, produced in Poland by Pesa since 2006. And the Stadler Variobahn in production since 2007. This is a car derived from the Vario tram that was produced by ABB Aditrans in the 90s. Is the the version for Aarhus, Denmark. Troubles again. I finished the review of this typology with the Urbos 3, produced by TAFE since 2008. Also in this case, cracks were found in the truck boxes. And so some batches of these cars had to be recalled by the manufacturer and fixed, like those here in the version for Birmingham and also in Sydney, Australia. Let's turn the page now and see a big step forward. The Ford City 15T by Skoda, introduced in 2008. In my opinion, this is the best configuration for a modern car. No suspended bodies at all, and full pivoting bogies. The two central are the good old Jacobs bogies, each one resting under the ends of two bodies. Unfortunately, this tram has not been so successful because its cost is a little higher than the average, having more axles than the others. But from a technical point of view, I repeat, it has much better performances. It's a very good tram. And this is the same tram in the version for Riga, Latvia. It was the only one other city to adopt it after Prague. Yeah, the advantages of this kind of configuration are high ride comfort, low track and wheel consumption, no screech. So it suits perfectly for systems like those in Eastern Europe with narrow curves and non-perfect tracks. In competition with Skoda and intended for legacy tram networks having non-perfect tracks, Alstom developed this particular version of this cities called X04. Here, there are no suspended bodies, and it has two full pivoting bogies at both ends and one track in the middle. Despite its good features, it was sold to Istanbul only, so just one application. A pity. This is a particular version, a variant of the Bombardier Flexity, specifically developed for Berlin. And unlike the other Flexities, it derives directly from another model, completely different model, the Incentro, that was a quite good tram car made in Germany by ATTS in the 90s. And Incentro is in service in just two cities, that are Nottingham and Nantes. Now we see an improvement. This improvement was introduced for the first time in 2011 by Fosso Stadler on its Tramlik model. We still have suspended bodies, but we have real bogies instead of trucks. Even if the bogies are not full pivoting, but they have just a minimum rotation angle and no underfloor center plate. Same configuration was adopted by Bombardier with the Flexity 2, introduced the first time in Blackpool in the same 2011. In the picture, you see the version for Antwerpen called Albatros. A more traditional version is this Ford City Classic by Skoda, produced since 2012. Suspended bodies and trucks. In the same year, 2012, we find another substantial improvement that was achieved by the manufacturer PESA in Poland, introducing a fully low-floor tram car with full pivoting bogies. But in this case, unlike the Skoda 15T, that, as I have said, has Jacobs bogies, here we don't have the Jacobs bogies between the bodies, but we have ultra-low lowered bogies under all the bodies. So this solution is less expensive than the 15T of Skoda. A similar configuration was adopted by Skoda with its 4-seat Arctic that entered service in Helsinki, as you see in the picture, in 2013. Full pivoting bogies. And this is another category derived from the Siemens trams of the 90s and introduced firstly on the Combino Plus. The Avenio, the present Avenio, is the successor of the Combino Plus since 2013. And here there are no suspended bodies, and each body rests symmetrically under one bogie. And all bogies can have a minimum rotation. There is no underfloor center plate, and the bogies are directly attached to the underbody through the suspension system. It is Munich, the mini version of the Avenio, short. And that's the Romanian version made by Astra, the Imperio Astra, that has the same configuration as the Avenio. It is produced in Romania by Astra since 2014. That's the version for Bucharest. The concept of the minimum rotation bogies was taken up by Alstom too for its next generation of seated trams, that is the X05 model, introduced in 2014. We still have some suspended bodies, but we have real bogies instead of trucks. Here's the version for Athens. Full pivoting bogies for the single-bodied tram cars that are still produced in Eastern Europe, but with updated technological levels, of course. This is the Vionok, it means little lion, was the first full pivoting single body car to appear in 2015, produced in Russia by PKTS. And the articulated Metelitsa, produced by Stadler in Belarus and gone to service in 2018, full pivoting bogies too. It was intended specifically for the Eastern European tram systems, having tracked not in good conditions, but it was not so successful. After St. Petersburg, it was just sold to Cochabamba, Bolivia, and then came the Russian invasion of Ukraine that stopped everything. Another particular tram is the Flexity Wien, also derived from the Incentro EDI trams like the Flexity Berlin. Since 2018, it is the successor of the ULF, ultra low floor tram of Vienna, and holds the record of the lowest level of boarding in the present tram market, but just in the present tram market, because now the floor is at 215 millimeters above the top of rail, while the ULF was 197 millimeter on the top of ride. So the record of the world record so far is retained by Ulf of the lowest tram car. For the North American market, the LRT American systems, both Bombardier and Alstom have developed the specific products, all derived from their basic versions. Bombardier now became Alstom, has introduced the Flexity Freedom, while Alstom has launched the Citadel Spirits that you see picture here in the version for Ottawa, Canada, that opened in 2019. It is derived from the European Citadis Dualis tram train with full pivoting bogies and suspended bodies. The Chinese CRRC, we know that it is now the largest railcar producer in the world. After monopolizing the Chinese market, it came to Europe in 2023 with its LRV model for Porto, Portugal. In the same year, it landed in Israel, Tel Aviv, as you can see in the picture. However, these models are not yet so sophisticated because belonging to the typology, suspended bodies, and rigid truck. And in the same category of the Avenion Siemens, this is the Fuku Tram by Niigata Transit, going to service in 2023 in the city of Utsunomiya, Japan. And another example in the category of suspended bodies and minimum rotation bogies is the 8000 series made by Hitachi Rail Italy, the successor of the Sirio model, now running in Turin since 2023, and soon going into service in Florence in a little different version. Okay, my presentation is about to end, but I have enough time to show you some examples of new tendencies. Let's say that modern trams are less strictly classifiable into distinct categories. For example, this is the Tina by Stadler, Swiss Stadler. Tina means total integrierter Niederflurantrieb. This tram can be fully or partly low floor, with inner steps or not. And there's some pivoting bogies, but also some rigid tracks. So its final configuration depends on the needs of the customer. This tram was introduced for the first time in Basel in 2023. And the picture is the version for Basel. This is an example of combined solution, a Russian tram running in the city of Kaliningrad since 2011 and made by PKTS. Its name is the Corsair, and it has a pivoting bogie and a rigid truck. So a middle way configuration. This also is a combined configuration with two pivoting bogies at the ends and some rigid trucks in the middle. That's the Barsolino, produced in South Korea by Hyundai Rotem since 2021 and running in Warsaw. And this, I call it a weird example, is the new Milan tram, the Tramlink S3, made by Stadler. Here, the customer insisted to have two big traditional pivoting bogies at each end. So the inner floor has two levels that are connected by ramps, inner ramps, with an 8% gradient. This allows to have no internal steps and allows to call it a fully low floor tram car. So you see, with those examples, you can see that it's the customer that decides what category will his tram car become. For example, here they could have decided to have internal steps, but they have preferred to have ramps. And another modern tendency is to build trams longer and longer. Some years ago, we had seen some new records beaten by the Siemens Combino Plus, then by the CAF Urbos, both in Budapest. But now the pole position has been taken by Skoda with this car, picture here for Mannheim, delivered this year, that is 58.7 meter long. 7 bodies, 7 sections, 8 rotating bogies, double-ended metric gauge, fully low floor. But the short tram is not dead. Despite the run for the longest tram, someone still orders single-bodied cars. Here's a brand new example from Temirtau, Kazakhstan, where some 8 cars are being produced by the local Patstena factory. Anyway, they are 50-meter long with rotating bogies and partly low floor. What a future for hydrogen. This is the Korean hydrogen tram presented at InnoTrans Berlin last September by Hyundai Rotem. Only the future will tell us if this system will establish itself on the market. The forecast is for the year 2028. As for the battery power supply system, here's an example being implemented by Alstom for Saudi Arabia. And it is claimed that this line will have a length of 22.4 kilometers and will be operated in full battery mode. Forecast 2026. We will see. And let's finish with a weird phase, the two new Translor lines under construction in Padua. So that means that someone still believes in tram on tires. Anyway, they have ordered to Alstom 33 new Translor cars. It was the first order in the last 10 years. And let's say that it's a unique case in the world. Forecast year 2026. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. And I am at your disposal if you want to ask any questions. Thank you.